Make a motion to add to the agenda the lighting for East Crystal Haven and Route 30 intersection.
Is there a second?
Second.
And second. Any discussion?
Where would you like to put that, Bob?
How about right before the noise ordinance?
I thought you were putting the word,
Okay.
you want to put the light.
That sounds good, right before the noise ordinance.
We already approved it.
I know we did, but you open it up and read it and see what Mr. Lamy spoke.
Okay. All those in favor of adding lighting for East Crystal Haven indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And I gather that there a motion to approve the rest of the agenda?
So moved.
I'll second
And
it.
second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Approval of the minutes, 11:27, 11:28.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes for Monday, November 27th.
I'll second it.
And a second. Discussion.
Got
I
a
believe there's
few
one-
changes.
A few changes, correct.
Mr. Leamy, you weren't here,
Correct.
number one. Down where we approved the agenda, the motion carried 5-0. Again, you weren't here. Then Jim Leamy stated there are no developments on the sale of the building. You weren't here. That's on the second page, the Mary Doherty paragraph. And down below to Lions Club, it says ML Harris made to allow. I made a motion to allow. Okay, Joe, it's up to you now.
Well, staying on that point about the Lions Club, that's another place where we had a 5-0 vote, but couldn't have. On the third page, under tree bid award, there was another 5-0 vote. Down under warrants for approval, we had a 5-0 vote, which should be a 4-0. And the next paragraph related to warrants 1117P and 1123P, that should be a 3-0 vote.
Was there one meeting you missed or two?
One,
You weren't here at
27th. I just missed one.
the 13th.
I think I was here for the other one.
I think you're right, Allison.
He wasn't in the attendance on the 13th.
If that's the
But
case,
you
then,
abstained from the minutes on the first page because you weren't here for that meeting.
That is correct.
if that's the case, then, the vice chair didn't call the meeting to order.
Right.
That's correct as well.
Sorry,
Right.
right.
Okay, so he was here or he wasn't here?
He was.
Then you weren't the,
I didn't chair this meeting. I chaired the
didn't
meeting
chair.
previous to this.
So all of those votes, whether they be 5-0 or 4-0, are correct as they appear in the minutes.
Correct.
The final comment I would make is the bottom of page 3, or above the brief recap and items for follow-up, it says, R. Spalding asked if they were back to disposing of trash at the burner, or if it's going to Rutland. I think for the average citizen, the word burner probably doesn't tell them enough. What would you substitute for that, Bob? At the incinerator?
Yeah, the incinerator is good, but
Waste incinerator.
yeah, waste incinerator, but I can almost tell you who owns it, but that's okay.
Where
Wait,
geographically is it?
It's in Hudson Falls.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the burner in Hudson Falls would be sufficient, probably, Joe?
Sure.
That's it.
Dick?
Just one quick thing. Under tree bid award, the word for popple tree is misspelled. It should be spelled Poplar. Other than that, you guys got everything else.
Okay. Bob?
I'm good.
You're good? I'm good. I wasn't here. Okay. All those in favor of approving the minutes November 27th with corrections indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes for November 28th, 2023.
I'll second.
Addition or corrections?
I have none.
I have none.
Not for you, Joe? Dick?
I'm good.
You're good? Bob?
I'm good.
I'm
Mary
good.
Lee?
Fine.
Everybody's good. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Next item, citizen comments and/or concerns, items not on the agenda. Does someone wish to address the board? Items not on the agenda. Anyone on Zoom?
I don't see any hands up.
May I speak, Mr. Chairman?
Of course.
That's Nedra.
That you, Nedra?
It is.
Okay, go ahead, Nedra.
I just wanted to let the board know that I've been working on a project for 5 or 6 years. Anybody that's done research in our office knows that there was a 5-year gap in our index. And as of Friday, we have completed that gap. We have entered all of the indexing in and scanned the pages. So I'm pretty excited about that. It's a big relief to have it done, and Mike wanted me to let the board know.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Nedra?
Congratulations.
Good job.
Thank you,
Good
Nedra.
job, Nedra.
Thank you.
Anyone else who wishes to address the board? Items not on the agenda. If not, we'll move on. Did you want the lighting ahead of noise ordinance or after, Bob?
Ahead of, I think we
Ahead of
decided.
it, okay. Is there a motion regarding the lighting of East Crystal Haven and Route 30
You're
intersection?
skipping the new recreation director, Jim.
Did I miss him? Oh, certainly. Mike? Michael, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me?
Do you wish to introduce the new recreation director?
Yes. I'm assuming he's in the room.
That is correct.
So I'd like to introduce John Alexander as our new Parks and Rec director. John has been a lifelong resident here in the town. He actually started as a youngster working for the town, helping with maintenance of Dewey Field. Everything comes full circle, I guess, and doing other things during the summer. So he brings a great vast knowledge of buildings and maintenance and field maintenance. He's coached baseball and he's worked around youth activities. So he brings all that stuff to the town. I wanted to just have him come before the board and formally introduce himself and welcome him to the team.
Hello, board.
Welcome, John.
Hi, John.
Look forward to working with you folks.
What's your name, John?
Would you like to address the board at all, John?
Well, I'm looking forward to coming on board with the town in a formal context, hoping to be able to expand recreation for kids and adults in the town of Castleton, looking to work through the development and use of the village school, as well as exploiting some of the natural resources we have in town to better the recreation experience for residents and visitors alike.
Thank you, John.
Sounds good.
Any questions for John, from the board?
Are you leaving the room, John, or are you going to hang around for a while?
I'll probably be leaving in a little bit.
Okay.
But you got some.
Well, I do. I'm still looking for the rec revenues, where you guys are at. I know that's throwing it in,
Okay,
on-
well, I.
you haven't got the plate in front of you.
understand that I'll be presenting them on a monthly basis to the board. I haven't been privy to them at this point, but, as soon as I'm aware of the schedule that they've kept in the past, I look
Okay.
forward to working on that and hopefully, increasing those revenues to where, the board and the town expects them to be. Having the village school be a revenue generator is an interest of mine as well as a taxpayer, and I think that it's very capable of producing revenue for the taxpayer. It's a nice facility. It's in remarkably good shape. I was a maintenance tech for the district for a long time. I mainly worked setting up the athletic fields, so I wasn't that familiar with the development. The interior of the village school, but more of the high school primarily. So I was surprised, and Paul McClure has been able to get the heat pretty well squared away. There's a few more small items to be able to get parts in, and the building's pretty sound right now. So I'm looking forward to seeing what we can do with the facility.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for John? Congratulations, welcome aboard, John.
Thanks, Jim.
Pleasure to have you
Email on.
accept that position.
revenue.
Okay, we'll move on.
Hey,
Yes, Mike?
This week it was.
I just wanted to make sure that if Bob could verify that he did receive an email from Christine, because I asked her to send the revenues for the village school for rec, and she said she sent that to you, Bob. So if you didn't get it, I'd like to know, because she might have a bad email address for you.
Yeah, I don't think I got it, but
I did.
Mary Lee got it, so,
As did I.
okay, so I may have missed it. I don't know, maybe you guys can enlighten me on how it came through. Did it have Christine's name on it, or?
Yeah.
It came from Christine via email,
Okay.
Yeah.
and I can't confirm or deny that you were on as one of the addressees.
Okay, okay.
I will check. I will make sure that we have the correct address for you, Bob.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Yep.
Moving on now to lighting for East Crystal Haven and Route 30 intersection. Is there a motion?
Well, can I speak to that?
Sure you can.
This is very clearly in the last regular meeting's minutes. On page 3, at the bottom of petition to install lighting at the intersection of Route 30, et cetera, it very clearly says that we felt, our Spalding and our Combs felt, and it was the board's consensus, that if the town manager and police chief were in agreement on it, they should do it without any further action from the board.
Yeah.
They agree on it, so I fail to see why we're even discussing it.
Because Mike asked it to be on the agenda.
Then I'll move that we authorize the town manager to put a light at the intersection of Route 30 and West Crystal Haven.
Is a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Joe?
I just wanted to ask a question about the last sentence in the first paragraph, which says, if they install a streetlight at East Crystal Haven, it cannot be positioned in such a manner that it doesn't blind anybody coming off East Crystal Haven onto Route 30. That sounds concerning. Mike, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, the only reason I put that in there is because that happened at that light that was installed across from the intersection for the health center. That light was tipped so far forward to get it into the intersection that people were complaining that it was in their eyes when they were pulling out of the health center onto Route 30. So I had to have it adjusted. So I just want to make sure that when we put that in there, we're cognizant of that. We don't do that again.
Thank you.
Anything else on this? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion passes. Moving on, noise ordinance amendments for adoption. We have information in the packet as to what the procedure is to do this. Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt the modified noise ordinance for the town of Castleton tonight at this meeting, recognizing that there is a 60-day period before this could possibly go into effect.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. We have to sign this, folks.
This is the noise ordinance, is what I'm signing?
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
That was Christine's email. I didn't check.
What is the heading on it, Joe? Is that, what?
It's called Rec Receipts 7/1 to 11/17.
And when did you receive that?
I got that November 28th.
November 28th? Okay. I'll look for it again.
I can forward it to you again, so it's...
Oh, yeah, that would be good, Joe.
Top of your email.
Thank you. Yeah, my 10,000 emails that I have. It's ridiculous.
Thank you. There you go, Jim.
All set.
Yep.
What's today, 9th,
I think
11th.
11th? The next item is review American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA funds, commitments, and list of proposed uses, Select Board and Town Manager.
Recording in progress.
Would you like to comment on this, Mike? Mike, can you hear me?
Apparently, he has his hand up.
you did have...
Well, I think he disappeared, actually.
Is he there?
I don't think so.
No?
His phone number's still.
Was it?
That's Mike right there. I believe.
Okay,
There he is.
I'm here.
Okay, Mike. ARPA funds, Mike.
Well, this is just the form that has been before you in the past, and I did want to address the board about some other issues as it pertains to a later agenda item, so I'm not really sure where to go with this one, besides, we've got, well, I'll address it, how about I address it later when we talk about the highway department, the vehicle repairs needed. So in this case, the ARPA funds, that spreadsheet that was provided, you've had in the past, I just was wondering if you've had any movement on what you might want to consider or not consider, so I can make changes to that spreadsheet as you desire.
Okay, comments from the board? Joe?
Well, just a couple of things. First, there are 3 cells on the pink section of the spreadsheet that contains the recommendations of the town managers that have $0 in them. I think I understand in most cases why that is, but the bottom line, which of the recommendations in pink that stands at 635,000 is actually substantially higher than that, especially if the first item, which is a budget for repairs to the village school, were to be added in. And I guess my personal thought is that we have received this now in various forms, probably 8 or 10 times, and I think we ought to begin the process of deciding what we as a board consider our high priorities and our lower priorities for the use of these funds, and maybe start making those decisions tonight, if we have time.
Okay. Dick?
Well, I actually did what Joe was suggesting and took a look at this list, and I picked out 3 things that I think should be considered high priorities. that are on this list, and one would be to fund a replacement for engine 5 in the van on the fire department. And that would be considered, in my opinion, a top priority, as well as the funding our share of the Parsons Hill sidewalk project and our share of the village sidewalk project when that comes to fruition. The reason I say that is twofold. Basically, we have not funded the reserve accounts for either of those items adequately, in my opinion, over the last decade or more. And I think we'll find that when it's time to replace both engine 6 and engine 3, that the 450,000 or so we have in the reserve account is not going to be adequate. Secondly, I think you'll find that the 45,000 a year we're putting into the sidewalk projects, as we start building the rest of the sidewalk projects, we'll find that that fund will not be adequate as well. The other thing that we should consider is, and I may not agree with the specific vehicle that the town manager has in mind, but actually funding some, the town mechanic and the replacement, either all or in part of one of the vehicles in our fleet. As we know, our vehicles are, some of them are getting fairly elderly. And that's all I got for now.
Bob?
But
Oh, I'm sorry. You
No,
finished
but,
it?
yeah, I do agree with Joe that it's time to start figuring out what the priorities are and taking some action, because as a reminder, we have to have these funds obligated by the end of this coming year, by the end of 2024, and we have to actually have the funds spent by the end of 2026. And some of these things, like fire trucks and dump trucks, take a year, well, 2 years or so to get. So if we're going to do this, we have to make that decision fairly soon, because if we don't spend the money by the end of '26, we'll be writing a check to the federal government.
Bob?
I'm just a little displaced. At the very beginning of all these ARPA funds, I made a statement that I would not vote for any ARPA funds until we set aside funds for the salt and sand shed, and I've yet to see those on these. And I've gone against my word. I voted for, as you can see, pretty much all of the front page. I voted for that. So I went against my word. So when are we going to see salt and sand shed on here? We got to set some money aside for that, because we're going to get to the end of this and, oh, folks, we don't have any money for the salt and sand shed. So that's what I'm displeased
Okay.
about right now.
You got anything else, Bob?
Well, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Mike, can you give the board an update on the progress of replacing the salt and sand shed?
Yes, I can. So until we really get a kind of an official number of an estimate of what it's going to cost to build this, because I have talked to other people, contractors. We talked to contractors. I did ask Nedra for a phone number so I can get a hold of a carpenter, because he does that kind of work. And I'm being scoffed at when we say $800,000 is what the grant that the town wants. We went through all these gymnastics to have a scoping study and then apply for a grant. They come up with $800,000 to do all the prep work and to build one. And so far, I'm getting scoffed at by some folks saying that's ridiculous. It's never going to cost that much money. But then when we talk to some of these contractors to build these Quonset hut, fabric roofed, steel frame buildings, $800,000 doesn't seem so crazy. I guess it really depends on what we come up with for a final decision on how much we're going to put in there. So that's what we're trying to work here, Bob, to try to get some semblance of what the cost will be. We have $300,000 from a grant. We've got another $100,000, $150,000 from previous monies. So we're somewhere near $500,000 of our own money. I'm sorry, not our own money, counting the grant. If we don't use the grant, and we're well short of building something ourselves, probably in the neighborhood of for $500 to $600,000. So I think we'd be foolish not to use the grant. It's just that we couldn't apply for the extra 200,000 due to some environmental stuff that needed to be completed that we weren't aware of. So that means that we wouldn't be able to build or apply for the grant till next year, next fall, and then we're going to hinge our bet that we're going to get it. And then we wouldn't even be building something until 2025, the summer of 2025, maybe. So a lot to flush out of this thing. I will come back to the board with a recommendation once I kind of get an idea of what this building will cost the town overall, and I just don't have that right now.
Okay, but we have to allocate this ARPA money by a year from now. Is that putting you down to crunch time? Or?
Yeah. Well, you have to obligate it, so I hope that before December 31st of 2024, I'll have a good idea of what the cost may be for this building. And we're exploring different options, whether it's one building, it's two buildings, we're going to put all the sand in there, all the salt needs to go in there, but all the sand going there. These are things we're kicking around, and a lot of it has to do with cost. Obviously, if the building was a little smaller, it's going to cost less money. So those are things that Jeff is aware of, the highway foreman. He's also talked to some of these contractors. So it's just things that we're trying to flush out and get some solid commitment on from somebody on cost. And I do want to talk to Bud Carpenter before any final presentations made to the select board. And so I have his phone number now. So when I get back, I'll give him a call.
Okay, because if we approve everything on the ARPA thing, that leaves us with $200,000, $238,000. And you said you've only got $400,000 in grant money, and you're saying this project could be as much as $800,000. So that tells me we're $200,000 short if we approve everything on this ARPA right now. And that just scares me.
I don't disagree with you right now.
Okay, Michael.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Joe?
I want to ask the manager a question. I have a recollection that I received an email suggesting that thought was being given to essentially cutting the size of the shed in half. Is that correct?
Yes, we're talking about putting up, that would mean putting all the salt in there, but not all the sand.
And having 2 deliveries a year as opposed to 1?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, I'm sympathetic to Mr. Spalding's concerns here. I do know that he's been bringing this up repeatedly, and but I'm not especially encouraged by your statement, Mike, that you could get a plan together in the next 12 months. I think we need to have a plan quite a bit sooner than that. And from my point of view, I think we should, while I was prepared to vote for some of these items tonight, and may still, I don't think we should get too far down the road of approving the items on the pink spreadsheet before we get a plan for the salt and sand shed. Say that fast several times.
That could be a tongue twister.
Thank you, Joe.
I acknowledge your statement, Joe, and yeah, it won't take a year. I guess if I said that, that's not what I meant. It's just going to sit down here and get a couple more phone calls made and see if we can get some numbers put together. And probably realistically, I'm probably not going to be able to do that until maybe the second meeting in January.
That would be soon enough.
And I think I misspoke too. I think what we were talking about was putting our sand in there and having the salt deliveries twice a year. I think I misspoke and said earlier it was going to be the other way around.
Right.
Okay. Mary Lee?
Well, I'm kind of with Dick as far as equipment is concerned, that I think we have to keep our equipment in top shape, whether it's fire department or under the town mechanic or whatever, we have to have the equipment for our men to do the job.
Okay. Is that it, Mary Lee?
Yes.
Back to Joe?
Just to follow up on that, I agree with that point of view, but for me, I would like to use these one-time funds only if I was certain that we had a plan to adequately fund the reserve accounts in these areas. Because if we find ourselves in this same boat 5 years from now, I'll be very disappointed.
Okay.
I acknowledge that one, and I know that I have the fire department's figures. What I don't have right now is to sit down with our mechanic and Jeff and look at the old capital improvement plan that was submitted to the town and they adopted back in 2018, and then a subsequent one, I think in 21, and go through that list of our vehicles and put updated numbers to that and get back to you with the plan for the fire department and for the highway department. I think we're really close with the highway department. It's not going to take a whole lot of effort because they have the numbers. It's just sitting down and running it out to, the newest vehicle and when its replacement schedule comes up and how much we need to put away to make all that happen. So, again, I'm going to go out on a limb and think that by the second meeting in January, along with the salt and sand shed, we can have all this before the select board.
Anything else from the board members?
If we can do that, then I'm willing to wait that long to establish priorities and start making decisions. But I'm not willing to wait much longer than that because, once again, the clock is ticking.
Yeah, it's a 2-year process now. They're talking for things like fire apparatus and the highway trucks. So it definitely is concerning if it takes that long. If there's any delays, to take longer. But so yes, I think I echo your concern as well, Mr. Combs.
I'm all set for now, Jim.
Oh, you guys are all set now? Want me to make my comments?
No.
Yes, I want to hear it. Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, the purchase of any equipment, while I believe what Mary Lee said, that we need equipment that will do the job and is in fine working condition, I want to see an analysis that we need this equipment. It's kind of looking like a wish list in some respects. So I'd like to see some documented information as to why we need the type of equipment that we're talking about here. I'm referring specifically to another engine for the fire department and truck for highway department. Indicate to us why we need the amount of equipment that we have. If that's the case, I'll have an open mind to it. I also believe that the original use of ARPA funding was for water and sewer, and highway would fit into that. We have nothing to do with water, at least not tonight. But we do have those other things. Now, we spend the ARPA money somewhere else. Where's the money coming from for these things? From the reserve fund? So we're actually going to spend the money both ways. We're going to use up the ARPA funding, and then we're going to have to go to the reserve account for any sewer extensions. While I am a supporter of economic development, I believe also we have to take into consideration the taxpayers, which is what we're here for, to represent the taxpayers. We're not here to represent each department, but rather to represent the taxpayers who will be paying the bills. Game, set, and match. It looks like what the board is saying is they'd like to have more information, which Mike will try to provide by the second meeting in January. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's my understanding.
Okay, shall we move on then? revision to the proposed budget, 2024, 2025. Prior to the meeting, I did send out an email. Had Karen do it. You know that, Joe. Send out an email asking anyone on the board who had questions for Mike as to a change, which we now have, to contact Mike with any questions. Mike, of course, is out of town, so I would offer for your consideration that all of us have an opportunity to fully read the latest figures, and anyone who has questions for Mike, get them to Mike prior to the next scheduled meeting. No, it's not Christmas night. I believe the board agreed to meet on the 21st.
Sounds
On
right.
the 21st.
Yes.
Hopefully, we'd have that information by then. I noticed there's a significant change in the numbers, but if you want to take that up at the next meeting, that's fine with me. I've had too much to say tonight anyway.
I'm okay with that, Mr. Chairman. I just have a question about the access that citizens have to this information. Is this on our website?
Mike, will this be on the website? The budget information?
It's not now, but I can have it posted out there on the minutes for the, well, we got to put it somewhere where everybody knows how to find it. So let me think. Yes, I could, to answer the question in the short version, yes, we can get it out there.
Okay,
It's not there now.
okay. Anything else on this?
I'd just like to add that the existing budget is on the website and available.
Yeah.
The one for the fiscal year we're currently in and for prior fiscal years. It's the proposed budget that's not there right now,
I
which
think
is what
that's
Joe was
we're-
asking for.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what Joe's asking
But
for.
just
yeah.
for clarity, everyone should know that the existing budget is available.
Okay. Anything else on
Mr.
this?
Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
hi, this is Nancy Mark, and I'm not sure if the proper protocol to make just a clarification about the way the budget is constructed regarding the library before the board reviews this again. Would this be a good time to do that?
I think hopefully Mike will be back in the office on Thursday, and that you may contact Mike so he can make the corrections, Nancy.
Okay, I'll do that.
Is that okay?
Thank you. Sure.
Okay.
We thought the correction was going to show up this time, but I will definitely do that.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anyone else on this? If not, we'll move on. Town report, 2022, 2023. Cover dedication, select board comments. I believe we have an article in here written by the select board members.
I hope not.
Mike, do you have any comments you'd like to make on the cover or dedication? I believe you did refer to that in here.
Yeah, the only thing I would ask is that, because every year I've been, well, kind of writing stuff for the select board, because we come down to the end hour, and I'm just asking that if there's stuff that the select board really wants in there or wants to address, that we have that from somebody on the select board, that's speaking for the group, that we can put in there, so it's just not my words, because it may not be exactly what you want to say or what you want to address.
Okay?
And that was for the comment. As far as the rest of this stuff goes, as far as the cover and the dedication, I wanted to get it on the agenda this far out, just so we always seem to come to the last minute to decide what the covers, what's going to be on the cover, and there's a dedication. So I just wanted to get it in front of you so that you could begin thinking about that. provide some guidance or suggestions.
Does anyone have any suggestions tonight for this? Something you want to think about, or?
I'd find it helpful to have a list of the last 5 or 10 years' worth of dedicatees.
You got that, Mike? Mike?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I did.
And I also had a question about the document that was in our packets. Mike, was this something that you drafted for use this year in the upcoming town report?
It's in the last year's.
This is what we
No,
said.
it was last
That
year.
was in
I just wanted
last
to share
year's.
a copy of last year's.
Thank you. Okay, phew.
Anything else on the town report tonight? No? Joe?
As most of you know, I'm not afraid to try to write things, and if the board collectively wanted to provide an outline, I'd be happy to try to cobble that together into a one-page statement.
I'm sure you'll do better than cobble it together, Joe.
But I need an outline.
Okay.
I think you should substitute the word craft for cobble.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anything else on this? Seeing none, okay. Liquor license for approval.
You want it in one motion, Mr. Chairman?
One motion would be great.
I'm
According
ready,
to the police chief, there are no problems with any of these.
I'm ready if you are.
I'm ready.
Make a motion, we approve the following liquor licenses. Lake Bombazine Lodge, first class, third class, and outside consumption. Toltec/Beverage King Market and Deli, second class, and tobacco endorsement. Castleton Pizza Place and Deli / Blue Crab, first class, third class, and outside consumption. Castleton Pizza Place and Deli / Bird's Eye Diner, first class and outside consumption. Castleton Village Store, second class, and tobacco license.
I'll second it.
And second, any discussion? Not all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Allocation of returnable deposit bottle and can revenue from the transfer station. This is exciting.
Can I try a motion?
Sure.
Okay. I understand there's about 4 times that are designated for the bottle redemption, but the other times you have to ask for them. So I'd like to make a motion that any bottle redemptions that has not been approved by the 4 people or 4 organizations, that the money go to the Recreation Department.
Is there a second?
I'll second it for discussion, yeah.
For discussion? Discussion.
Without having the policy in front of me, I think my recollection was that there were some, basically, any nonprofit that wanted the proceeds from the bottle redemption had to request it, and it was approved by town office staff. Now, was there 4? I don't recall.
I think there were 4. I may be wrong, but I think there were 4 that are kind of automatic.
Okay, well, what I would suggest that if there are no requests in absence of any requests or previous allocations, that in any case where that happens, where there are no requests or previous allocations, that money goes to rec.
That's what I was trying to say.
I'm not sure how the best way to say it is, but that's my stab at it.
Okay. Is there you made the motion, right, Mary Lee?
I just have a question.
Poorly,
You
but
seconded, you seconded, Bob?
I second it, but I just have one question.
Sure.
Now, if there's 4 organizations, do they pick what months they,
Without the policy in front of me, I don't dare speak to
I'm just
that.
curious.
I think there were.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak to this item?
Of course you
This is
can.
Melanie.
Yes,
This is
Melanie.
Melanie Combs, your soon-to-be retired town accountant. How it works is, it's an open field, basically. An organization has to come in and fill out a form. and if they meet the basic criteria, nonprofit, and they are vetted by the town manager, if need be. Otherwise, if it's an organization that has been approved in the past, I have signed off on it. It is not guaranteed any particular month, so basically you are awarded the next available month. You can't pick and choose because you think the redemption might be higher in one month over the other. In more recent years, we haven't had a lot of organizations sign up. That's not to say that they could not. Typically, has been, let's see, the Castleton Senior Center, Project Graduation, the Women's Club for their scholarship program, the Hubbardton Fire Department. Off the top of my head, those are the more recent ones. They can sign up for 2 times a year. They can't be the same months 2 years in a row, and they can't be consecutive months. Other than that, what has happened, that phrase absence of a request, the town has taken ownership or retained ownership of that. The bottles are still picked up by Joe Sessick. Thank him when you see him. He's done that for many years. Takes them all to Beverage King and then sends us a check. Process is all quite painless. It's just either less organizations know about it or they're not as interested. We used to have, let's see what else, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H, all kinds of organizations did. But when organizations don't sign up, then the town automatically is the recipient. Does that answer
Very helpful, Melanie. Thank you.
your questions?
Any questions for Melanie?
I think she answered.
Joe?
And Melanie, this is done monthly,
Yes.
and approximately how much unclaimed revenue goes back to the town?
Oh, my. Well, to be honest with you, it does depend upon different months. The overall revenue has declined over the years. It really has depended on the economy, on how gracious people are with returning their bottles, whether they return it for their own benefit or someone else's.
But I assume we're talking about several $100s as opposed to several $1,000s?
Yes, yes. Probably the average a month is, I don't know, 120, 150.
Anything else for Melanie? Thank you very much, Melanie.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair? Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Mike?
If the board makes a motion for it to go to rec, would it be too much to ask the board to also include where in rec that goes? Because there's so many spots within rec. I mean, I don't think it should go to Crystal Beach, but it might be good to go to youth sports or adult recreation or something like that. So if you would consider making that part of your motion, that might help direct the funds to where they need to go.
Mary Lou?
Let me try again.
No, just add it, just add it.
Just add it?
Yeah.
To my motion, I'd like to add that it goes to youth sports, adult sports, stuff that's in the village school or the fields behind it. Poorly done, sorry. Can I rescind mine and you do it?
Sure.
It was all right. It's fine.
Fine.
We just asked Allison whether she has it.
Get it, Allison?
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Just
She'll
don't have to
figure it
read
out.
it.
Is there a second to
Oh, to the
To the amendment?
amendment.
Yeah, I'll second the amendment too.
Second the
Yeah,
amendment?
yeah, yeah.
All right. All those in favor of approving,
Mr. Chairman,
yes?
I don't want to throw another wrench into the spokes of the wheel here, but your motion still does not address the or the policy that says nonprofit organizations. So if a nonprofit organization applies, you still will have to accept or decline. Do you want to limit the type of nonprofits? Is that perhaps a better component to your amendment and your motion?
Mr. Chairman, I was under the impression that Ms. Harris's motion said unclaimed, or for those months for which no one has applied to receive the refund monies, those months only would go to youth and adult recreation at the village school and its fields.
That's true, but it still does not keep any and all nonprofits from applying and possibly being approved.
I thought that's
The
in the
wording-
present policy. Isn't that the present policy?
That nonprofits in the town of Castleton and Hubbardton are eligible. That is the verbiage.
Yeah. So this is just the modification of that, saying that in those months that where no one applied for and was granted the bottle refund amount for that month, in those cases, it would go to the village school rec programs.
Well said, thank you.
So the situation that developed a couple months ago could still happen again.
What was that?
Well, can I speak to that?
Sure.
I think the vetting process shouldn't change. If the Boy Scouts or Little League request, or even, the senior center, whoever, of actual, obviously bona fide nonprofit applies and requests the funds from the bottle return, then they should and can be vetted by the town staff with no further discussion. But anything that's not ordinary, like when the LBA requested the funds, they should be at least vetted by the town manager or by the select board. And that needs to be in the policy perhaps, which means that's another one we got to review.
Well, aren't we talking here about nonprofits? Isn't the recreation department part of town government?
Yes?
Okay.
I don't know what the distinction is between municipal and nonprofit.
I would assume here that a nonprofit is something that is not part of town government. Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Castleton Cares, whoever.
I think we would find that some of those are not legally classified as nonprofits.
You mean not with the IRS?
Yeah.
Right, okay,
I mean, I don't think Castleton Cares is, for example.
okay. All right. Okay.
Pretty
and-
confident the Boy Scouts don't have a 501c3. Well, they do under the
National,
under the national umbrella, they do.
yeah.
Anything else on this one?
Well,
Sure.
I think we all are probably close to agreeing on the motion. We just don't know what the policy, how the policy needs to be tweaked.
I think we all agree with the spirit of the motion,
Yeah,
so.
we should vote on it.
Yeah.
Put it behind us.
And then if we really need to review the policy, I'll leave that up to the town manager to bring it to the board to address. But before you speak, Rob, I'll just say that I think the town staff did the right thing in that one instance to bring it to our attention. And I
Okay.
think that they should be, I know they're smart enough to do that in the future. Go ahead, Rob.
I'm Rob Steele. Would it be more beneficial just to give, I mean, we're talking like $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 here. give it all to youth sports or the recreation department versus having to have these groups come and be vetted every time and take up town manager's time vetting the groups. I mean, the nonprofits are getting, what, $100 if they do it? I mean, how much of Mike's time are we wasting over $100?
Well, usually the town manager doesn't even know about it. It's,
So somebody from the town is taking
yeah,
the
that's
time
usually the
to-
town
to
accountant.
vet it.
The
at
town
that
accountant,
point.
normally, if it's like the Boy Scouts, for instance, the town accountant, that's, just, you know, takes absolutely no time to consider and approves it. If it's something like LBA, then that's when it got run up the flagpole.
And it just seems odd to me too that we, nothing against the town of Hubbard and Fire Department, but it just seems odd to me that we would give that money to the town of Hubbard and Fire Department when we have the Castleton Fire Department here too, so.
Well, the town of Hubbardton specifically asked for it. And the policy does say nonprofits in Castleton and Hubbardton because both towns use that transfer station.
Anything else on this?
Is not the LBPT nonprofit? And they requested it.
We denied it.
I kind of like Rob.
That's not what the Melanie is telling us.
Are you talking about the preservation group?
Yes.
That group, yeah, and the board denied it.
I like Rob's suggestion.
Okay.
It simplifies things and,
Put a sign up there, goes to youth sports,
yeah.
done.
Okay.
There is a lot of merit to
We sat through
that.
at town meeting, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, we just sat through the rec director, or somebody that worked for the rec department, talking about how much of the coach's own personal money goes into these youth sports and stuff like that, and then we're always talking about trying to keep kids busy and keep kids occupied, and yet we're relying on the coaches to spend their personal money and their time. I mean, I know it's not a lot of money, but it just seems like that would be a beneficial place for it to go.
Does anybody have a clue what we're voting on?
Well, I want to make a suggestion to my colleague, Ms. Harris, that you withdraw your motion.
I'll withdraw my motion.
And at our next meeting, we look at the whole policy and revise it in the direction of Mr. Steele's suggestion.
That sounds very logical, Joe.
So can I add that perhaps, Mr. Town Manager, can you provide us all with a copy of that policy or have your assistant do so soon, and we can be prepared when we come to the next meeting to discuss it?
Yes, that can happen, and I'll send out an email after this meeting to get that stuff to you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Could you withdraw your second, though?
I'll withdraw my second, yes.
shall we move on?
Yes, please.
Okay, allocation, authorization of needed repairs to highway department equipment. Town manager.
Mr. Chairman, I'm gonna speak on this initially, and then I believe Jeff Davis is on, and if he has anything to add, I'd ask that you entertain that about these repairs. But in your packet, to start it off with, in your packet, there was two estimates. One from Lyle Welding and another one from Capital Tractor. And so the one from Lyle Welding was in regard to our 20-ton trailer and the repairs to that. And then the one from Capital Tractor is regarding the New Holland mower tractor. What you don't have in your packet, and I don't have it in my hands yet, is the itemized list from a local contractor in Rutland who's looking at our 2013 International Tandem for the repairs that for the faults that they found, and putting a cost estimate to that. There are some initial indications that it could range as high as $15,000 to $20,000 in repairs. You don't have that yet in front of you, and so I'm speaking off from information I was given, but we don't have the actual numbers yet. So this money, that's these estimates, of course, the board typically wants, by our policy, is to have minimum two at least, but prefer three estimates when we're spending this kind of anything over $2,000. So that's something that we have to do. This was just kind of an indicator to show you what we're facing. So when you add all this up, we're talking be up to $35 or so $1,000. And if after taking a look at the maintenance budget in the highway department, we're already in critical shape right now because of repairs that have already had to be made. So this would be pretty crippling to try to spend that much money on these repairs. So I wanted to bring it to your attention. I don't have anything in writing to present to you at this time. There was some stuff in that ARPA spreadsheet about trying to use some ARPA funds, because when I sat down with Melanie and we looked at the unassigned highway carryover and what was obligated already to repairs, like the grader, it was $37,000 for that repair. Money was spent on the Brightly asset management, and then we had some salt and sand for the current fiscal year that we're in, that the board approved the unassigned highway carryover. Bottom line is, we've we overcommitted the unassigned highway carryover, so that there's no money there to help with these repairs. So I have to come up with some proposal that is somewhere in the realm of reality, of how to make repairs to these vehicles that we need. That 20-ton trailer hauls around the excavator. We don't have another option there. The New Holland obviously is our mower tractor, and then the 20-ton tandem. The tandem is something that we use heavily on the plow routes. So that's the situation. I haven't got an answer or a proposal put before you in writing, but I thought you should know about where we're at and with those vehicles. And if Jeff has anything to add, Mr. Chairman, I ask that you allow him to do that.
So what are you recommending, Mike?
I'm recommending that you stand by till I can put together some written proposal, because ARPA is the only way I can see out of this, and it's in that spreadsheet already. I've already put stuff in there, kind of like the sidewalk. I'm like, hey, can we use ARPA to cover our share of the cost, because we're decimating or depleted the sidewalk budget, the stuff that carries over each year for sidewalks. So it falls in the same scope as that, is that we don't have unassigned highway carryover. The budget's already pretty much overspent, and we've got almost 6.5 months to go before the end of the fiscal year. And it's just that we spent some money on some pretty big repairs that need to get made. It talks a lot about the age and condition of our equipment, how much money we're putting into it to keep it on the road. And I want to be able to put this in a packet to you and present something on how to get through this. But I'm not prepared to do that this evening, but I just wanted to kind of put that bug in your ear that it's coming by the next meeting for me to provide something to you as a proposal to navigate our way through this.
So are you recommending that we not take any action on these two proposals tonight, Mike?
Well, that's why I wanted Jeff to weigh in, if he's still on. He was on earlier.
Okay.
What's critical right now? I mean, is this something that can wait for another couple weeks to make a decision, or is he looking for something right now? Because the only option right now is to say, hey, select board, would you allow us to overspend our maintenance budget? I mean, that's really our option. There is no pot of money there that's going to get us through this using highway. We're gonna rob Peter to pay Paul. Say use it now, and then when it comes summer maintenance, we don't have the money to do something else. So it is kicking the can down the road if we don't address it.
So
And I'm-
so what is your recommendation for tonight, Mike?
All I'm saying, I don't have I'm not asking for a motion or anything tonight. I just wanted to give you a heads up so
Okay.
you knew what was going on. I was
Okay.
hoping that Jeff was on so he could explain to you.
Okay.
No, I'm on, Mike.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike.
I'm not asking for a motion, Jim. I'm asking just a situational awareness and then let the highway foreman, if he doesn't have his equipment, how does it impact him?
Who's this, Jeff?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Your turn, Jeff.
As far as the equipment, the priority that I can absolutely use, I could put someone in the mower almost every day and start cutting some trees back, doing some lemon, cutting some roadside stuff back. The equipment trailer we're definitely going to need. It's apparently it's been needed to be fixed for a while and kind of swept under the rug. And it does require a certified welder, which they're few and far between. Luckily, Lyle's at least close. So having the guys just sit in the garage and, it's and clean and try to be productive, I'd rather have the piece of equipment and go and be productive. It's a piece of, I need the mower up and running. The mower, the excavator, grader, those are the workhorses. You can use them almost nonstop year round.
So are you primarily talking about the estimate that was submitted by Lyle Welding to repair the trailer? Is that what you're talking about?
No, sir. The capital tractor, that is for the joystick. It's a replacement joystick to control the over-the-rail mower.
It'd be kind of nice if these guys would put on their estimates, what they're bidding on. It'd be very helpful.
It's on there, Jeff. It's the joystick and the big
Yeah, we see
control that the arm that controlled it. It's cracked, and
Okay.
when they came and looked at it, they said, "Don't you need to have a certified welder?" And matter of fact, the one kid that was there said, "I don't even recommend you weld that one. That's why there's new parts in that one." He said, "That's not something you want to weld, but the trailer is something that can be welded." So that, and then as far as the dump truck, I mean, that's up to again, Jeff has moves the ponds around the chessboard to make sure that the roads are cleared and stuff. And not having that truck, I'm not sure, his words, how's it impacting everything right now. We just had our first storm and we got people out, so there was more trucks than people to drive them. So, but eventually, I'm assuming he wants to have that truck back on the road, and how critical is it?
Joe?
I'd find it helpful to know the age of these three pieces of equipment.
The equipment trailer is from the 80s, I believe. The New Holland is 2001, and I believe the tandem that is at Earl's is 2013, I believe.
Thank you.
That's correct.
So I know we purchased, obviously this is way before my time. The New Holland was purchased used. Albany Water Works was the prior owner to that machine. The grader, I'm not sure, who had that before us. The equipment trailer is a great it's a great piece of equipment. It's just older and needs some work. You don't want to be hauling around your excavator and have an incident, obviously.
If you want the specific dates, Joe, that's something that Jeff could get.
That's close enough.
Okay, all right.
Are we talking about
So,
three
I wasn't
pieces
looking for
three pieces of equipment or two? That's what I
There are
thought.
three pieces of, I'm sorry, Jim, there are three pieces of equipment. There's a tandem that is currently at Earl's. There is a New Holland mower, tractor with the over-the-rail mower, which is currently in our pole barn. And there is also the equipment trailer, which it's still operational, but it's a maintenance thing. It's an older piece of equipment. It's a safety issue at that point. Are we hauling around the excavator every day right now? No, absolutely not. Is it going to wait till July? Absolutely not. The mower and the tandem would be the two things that would take priority.
Why would the mower take priority in December?
You can cut back trees still. You turn it so it's basically perpendicular to the road, and you can still trim brush back.
I mean, we're trimming brush back now?
This is the best time to do it, Mr. Chairman, is when
Okay.
there's no leaves on the trees.
No,
So
I
you can get that.
I just asked if we were doing it, that's all. I don't
Yep,
disagree
well,
with you.
I prefer one of the complaints. So, we're trying to address it.
Okay, folks. Would somebody like to tackle this?
I think we should move on to the next agenda item.
Yes, I would hope that we can do that.
I see a nodding of the heads. That's what we will do. Okay?
Mike said we could wait till the next meeting on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'll go to the next meeting. Mike, you got that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I did work with Jeff and the mechanic to come up with some good solid numbers and then present something to the board,
Thank you.
to get this.
Okay. Municipal Energy Resilience Program. Mini grant, town manager. Go ahead, Mike.
So this is a mini grant, it's a spin-off of the Municipal Energy Resilience Program that the town was already awarded. This mini grant is first come, first served, and once the money's gone from the MERP stuff itself, the mini grants will no longer be available. In your packet, I have Karen to provide a copy of a little blurb of what Chittenden did with theirs. I would like to do something along that lines, and I think I included it in my report, that to have a townwide, an open meeting where people can come in and learn about energy resilience and energy savings, and what programs are out there that they can apply for to whatever it is, insulate, new windows, those types of things, anywhere there is energy heat loss. And it's no cost to the town, and part of the grant will actually pay for Rutland Regional Planning Commission to take the lead on it, so it'll help coordinate everything, and it won't take up much time of the municipal employees. It might be a flop, it may not be a big turnout, but I think it's worth it to get the word out there in case there is somebody out there that needs help to get their house insulated or new windows and that kind of stuff. So if the board is good with that, then I will go ahead and fill out the mini grant and get that thing started.
Okay, is there a motion to authorize the town manager to apply for this grant?
So moved.
I'll second
A
it.
second.
I'll
Any
second it.
discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. On to the manager's report.
Barring your questions, stand by to try to answer anything that you may have for questions on what I provided.
Questions for Mike?
I don't have any questions because I haven't had a chance to read this, so.
Okay.
Likewise.
Same here, I just barely,
Yeah, I think it appeared today.
Yeah.
I guess we don't have any questions because the majority of the board hasn't had the opportunity to read it as yet, Mike.
Okay, well, if there's any questions anybody has in between the meetings, and I can look up the answer and share it with everybody and try to get the word out, because people that are obviously not gonna hear it on Zoom. But if that's not the case, I'll wait till the next meeting and you can address it at that point.
Okay, sounds good. Moving on, purchase orders for approval, I don't believe we have any. Moving on to warrants for approval.
Make a motion, we approve warrant number 1211R for $3,025.00. Warrant 1130 for $7,498.34. Warrant 1207 for $25,526.55. Warrant 1211 for $113,523.63. Warrant 1130P for $18,126.30. And warrant 1207P for $17,381.58.
Is there a second?
Second?
Second. Discussion of these warrants. Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Stay, Jim.
What, wanna go that way?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. We have three others here.
I see two others.
Oh, I don't know, I've got. Oh, maybe I missed this one.
Two, Jim.
Yeah, okay.
I would move that we approve warrant number 1201P for $641.32, and warrant number 1207P for $631.91.
I'll
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second. All those in favor
I
indicate by
need to
saying
recuse
aye.
myself, Jim.
Yep.
Aye.
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 Dick recuses himself.
Joe?
Thank you very much.
Here, you can give him that, give him those two, Dick.
Oh, no, there's at least one in here I gotta sign.
Did I give you my minutes, my agenda?
No, why? I don't believe so. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did, I thought I did. Thought I did.
It was
I
under
was
the,
gonna have you sign that too, Dick.
I could, you want me to? You're much good. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
See that
Sure.
for a second?
Yep. 7.
No, we're really looking for 8.
Oh, we got another one there?
Yeah, there's 8 there.
Oh, okay.
6 plus 2.
Wonder who did that.
Yeah,
That can happen.
everybody's human.
I was at a meeting yesterday for several hours at the White River Hatchery in Bethel,
Yep.
and they have these giant chairs. There were so many people in this room. People were kind of crawling on over the table, trying to get it to move around. I like these little ones. Bigger is not always better when it comes to chairs. Do you like that chair?
Got 8 there, Bob?
Pretty much support.
You think there's 8?
All of
Okay,
that.
Bob.
Back you go. Way back.
I lost track after 5.
It's very straight,
Yeah.
anybody that gets in it drives like.
Okay, moving on.
This is too far back.
I know.
Select board comments and/or concerns. Mary Lee?
I'm fine.
Bob?
I covered the rec revenue, but I'm gonna ask Mike, I'd like to see the rec expenses on the CVS building from day one to the current date. When you get a chance, Mike.
No, we did, Melanie has all that because we had to send stuff to, Hubbardton.
Okay,
So that'll be a simple one.
okay, thanks, Mike.
Anything else, Bob?
No, that's it.
Dick?
Just one thing, kind of like a public service announcement at the cemetery, Hillside Cemetery, I believe it is, right? There will be a event this coming Saturday, Wreaths Across America. We'll be putting wreaths on all the veterans' graves that we can find. So anyone who wants to be there, it'll be 11:30 on Saturday.
Okay.
More the merrier.
Okey-doke.
That's all I got.
There you go. Joe?
I guess this wasn't on my mind, but Bob's question prompted it. Mike, I noticed that the budget total for the expenses of the Castleton Village School is in the neighborhood of $80,000 in the new budget, the proposed budget. My recollection is that in past conversations, you've quoted figures closer to $50,000 or $60,000. Is there a reason why that comes in for next year so much higher?
Well, it was, to answer your question, it was a shock to me when I tried to pare this thing down based on the information that Melanie gave me from our current expenses to date. And when I tried to whittle that back, the only thing that comes to mind is repairs, because the voters voted $90,519 in the current year. So if we can make those repairs and get ahead of the schedule with what we have for funding now, then that might offset some of those maintenance issues that are in there. But it's my worst case scenario. And fuel, I did talk to Mr. Spalding, and I think I used $4.50 for fuel, and because that's a guess. I don't know what it's going to be next year, and I think that's. But I also wasn't prepared that electricity was going to start costing $1,200 to $1,300 a month. So all those stuff added up, Joe, those are the numbers I come up with, and so it kind of was shocking to me too that I'm like that high. But
So does that mean that you think?
Yeah.
Does that mean that you think that the expenses for this year are not going to be 50 to 60, but closer to 80?
With all the repairs, I'm assuming that my assumption is yes, it's going to cost higher than 50 or 60 with the repairs that we're facing. But again, the furnace is the big one. Right now, it seems to be holding its own, so that might not be as big a concern as I was told it might be a year ago. So I'm still working this thing out because I just get new information, or the next person I talk to has something else to add to it. So I'm not the resident expert on the boiler, so I have to rely on someone else there. But all the other expenses are there, and I think one of the things that I made a note in the budget worksheet is we're currently paying to have the school cleaned, and I asked for an estimate for next year for the same frequency, and it was like $15,000, and I'm like, I almost fell over. I'm like, we got to do something there. I got to figure that out. If we more use that we have, the more mess it's probably going to make, especially in the winter. So that's something I guess I'll have to work through. But when I put that in the budget, it makes it even worse.
Thank you.
I think it's realistic right now.
Any other comments or concerns from the board?
I just want to thank Joe for asking that, because
Yeah.
that's exactly what
Yeah.
Mike did say to us. It was, it's going to be more like 40 or 50,000 and not the 80 that I said before. And I'm not second guessing you, Mike. I perfectly understand what you're saying. Just, we gotta get a handle on this, that's all.
Okay.
I agree. Sorry, it's bad news, but I'm not making it up, that's for sure. Those are my guesses based on, information I had at hand. I think I actually said at one point up to 65 is what the numbers keep changing as we're getting more and more usage in the building and the expenses that come along with it.
Okay, anything else? If not, do you need any executive session, Mike?
If you want to talk about real estate for the village schools, there's not a whole lot to download to you. So maybe it's not warranted, but I just wanted to update you, I guess. It wouldn't take more than a couple minutes.
Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's go into the executive session for real estate and get it over with.
Second,
All right,
with the board and the town manager.
correct. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
I just made it, Joe just seconded it.
And Joe seconded it?
Yep.
To discuss real estate.
Real estate.